Good morning. Can you guys hear me? Anybody? Okay. Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, the make sure make sure you go to we're in June, so on your ladder you can see up here it says June. If you have active clicked on like your chart, like here, it's June. So we're at 58.17 is the price. You can either put active, it automatically rolls, or you hit June, same thing. Trading at June 15, so get market CL, crude oil futures, outrights, and then June 15s. Sent the message out also. So everything's June. Let's go to the charts. We bounced from Friday's low. It's a daily chart, S&P. 4 hour, that's that bounce off the low. Kind of right back into this area we've been. We'll extend it up here. That's 15-minute and 5-minute. Crude oil daily still looks pretty good. 4 hour, we did a little pullback this morning, but blasted right off the 1 hour band. We'll extend it on the 5-minute. So it seems like the higher level trends are still hanging in there. Or let's go through the NASDAQ also. Daily, right back in that range. 4 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute, and the 5-minute. Go through the spread charts. US dollar is bouncing this morning after selling off yesterday. Basically, China came out and they did a reverse repo, so that's kind of their style of QE, or helping out their markets. So it's a pretty big. I mean, you could even see it on the equities overnight. S&P is a little overvalued to the yen, although we've been talking about how that relationship is faded. Let's go to Actually, I have not looked up. We'll pull up the future starts. I haven't gone over those for a little bit. Here's the indices on the top. You could see it's kind of the same pattern. Sell off rally, sell off rally. The old bouncing ball. You can see the crude. These are daily charts, by the way, so you can see how this is it's a real good snapshot of getting a feel of all the markets and how they're all interconnected. Although metals are kind of back into their downtrend. Meats are down or rolled back over again. Grains are, they're kind of bottoming. This time of the year always for grains is interesting, obviously with the weather aspects in North America. So a lot of variables involved there. Most other, the softs, that's what they call, like cotton, cocoa, oats, coffee, they're all pretty much down. Lumber's been getting beat up. Probably a little bit of a slowing housing market. Let's look at the bonds. The 10-year note is right near its old high. And currencies, dollar still kind of stuck in this range after the Fed sell-off. It's kind of just stuck. Trying to get this is a little bit longer term chart. You could get the feeling that this almost year-long uptrend now is kind of, it's definitely getting toppy. So we'll see how that works out. I don't think it's ended. Have to break below these lows or definitely this low. So, but it does seem to be fading, that's for sure. Looking on the calendar, you can see the it's a pretty light calendar, so but I use the calendar on daily FX, covers everything including currencies and you name it, it's on there. Fed speakers. There he is. Hello?
Hello, hello.
There you are. Can you hear me?
Nice little breaking break on crude. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when you look in the daily, did you hear me go through the charts or no?
Yeah. I've been in the whole time.
Okay. Still feels like it's wants to get to that top band. This is where just
Yes,
price
sir.
action, you know. But typically, this is a pretty decent, a large up move that we've had. Let's pull on the 4 hours so you can tell. From 42 to 57 in a pretty short period of time. So typically how a top would form, if that was the end of the move, you'd want to get either a blow off top or it just gets really crazy and then collapses. Doubt that's going to happen. So I think more of kind of a topping pattern. I'm not seeing it yet, but this, if it fails this high, that could be kind of a start of it. But that's commodities. They're kind of a freight train.
Yeah.
Looking at this, I wouldn't be shocked it went to 70 this summer. High 60s.
I was trying to do that today.
Really? I don't know about today, but
Well, I mean, you're at, $3 today.
yeah, it is kind of peppy. Well, QE out of China, so I hear they use a lot of oil.
Couple barrels.
Couple barrels, couple hundred barrels, right? Yeah, they did. Usually they're kind of targeted. It's not even QE, but what they do is they target it so well that works pretty darn good. Trying to find the
Looking a little extended in oil, though, huh?
I don't have it. Yeah, it's definitely there. It's definitely getting there. I'm not seeing any news really on it. It's a pretty aggressive up bar, huh? But that's just the normal higher time frames kicking in when you look at it. It's always that, to me, it's this band coming up underneath the price actions. A lot of times gives it a kind of a springboard effect.
Yeah.
More aggressive trader could short at 40.
Got a busy week this week. You got your bathing suit packed?
Got my what?
You got your bathing suit packed?
Yeah, I'll bring the Speedo. Come on. Oh, God.
You see Lucky Larry walking around in his swimming suit.
Oh, man. That's how we're going to do the presentation?
Yeah,
so, yeah, I'm ready. It's just exciting. Super duper.
Yeah, it is.
Your mind starts racing about the 7,000 things you need to do, and it's just hard to sleep,
7,000. I'm not even packed yet. I gotta be on a plane in 3 hours.
That I did last night because I knew it would be
Busy day.
busy. But let's see here on the on crude. It's such a strong move that just from pure price action, could you take a little quick short there? But
Yeah,
I don't think
think you
it's going to
stay.
go to the bottom band like it normally does.
Yeah, I think you stay away from it to the short side.
Right.
I think you're asking for it.
Yes, sir. Not, the risk reward ratio is not what you're looking for.
Except you know me though, right? So
Well, I think that last entry at 42 minutes, at 47, could be.
yeah,
If you're going to take a shot, that would be your lowest possible risk spot. But
yeah, at 42. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
42 minutes, the bar.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, 47, 58, 47.
right. I think when you look at it, so I always just look at the constant percentage chance of it working out, etc. And so we have our different entry prices, and you can tell on where certain levels hit or whatever. That what are your odds? Like the next buy that comes around will be lower and lower possible profits. So we've had buys up in here, we had buy here, obviously buys down here, but ultimately after this kind of move,
Yeah.
your odds of going long, even though it's with the trend, is obviously lower than if you were buying down in here. But if you're trying to short, that's why it's always good from a trading perspective of keeping as kind of, I would call it devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Or bipolar. Looking at, well, if you wanted to take a short there, you got your head ripped off. You take a short there, you actually caught a little trade, but is it going to go and break down? I don't think so. Or it's statistically.
With these bands up sloping like that, I mean, you really only should be taking longs until you
Right.
work yourself out. Yeah.
I agree. But I'm just saying from a trading systems perspective, if you're a contrarian trader, you would definitely, if you had a contrarian system on, you would, especially once you start making different 1, 2, 3 pushes at new highs, you could start to take shorts. But
Yeah.
that one I would be quick and collect your nickel in front of the steamroller and move on before you get run over.
Yeah.
And then
Pretty good little pullback here though on crude.
46, yeah. It's just constant evaluation of the risk reward ratios. Stocks, close your eyes, buy dip, right?
Yeah. Got the NASDAQ hanging out near its highs, kind of working itself out over time. Carry trade looks pretty weak still. Or strong, I mean.
Yeah, they've definitely yen's just catching up. S&P is way overdone itself.
Yeah.
Once again, so see the yen is in red catching up.
Yeah.
We'll see how that pans out. I just think when you look at the mechanics of the market, that's a lot of things that I don't cover, but being in the business, knowing how the back office works, the inventory, how much stock that they have,
Yeah.
long or short levels, etc. You start to think that, remember back to Friday's plunge, and then you look on, they couldn't sell them fast enough. And then but to me, when you look at it, there's not very many people shorting.
Yeah.
And everyone that wants to be long is pretty much already long. So this is definitely air pocket type markets where it drops, comes to a value level. The bigger guys are like, well, okay, I'll buy some here. There's so little selling pressure that it almost, we've seen it time and time again, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just spikes up. So that's kind of the mechanics of what's going on in the market. Very thin, low volume liquidity. So
Yeah.
a couple $1 billion funds come in that are obviously long $1 billion, and they'll buy a little bit more, and there's not a whole lot to stop that. But they've talked about it with the lack of liquidity in a lot of these markets. The biggest one was like I think even in Europe, and they banned shorting. And they also had that in this recent crazy move in Asia, and especially in the Hong Kong shares. Did you know that you couldn't short?
I did. You know what? I did know that about Hong Kong.
Well, no, you can, but just in this current ramp up, they had basically banned it.
Oh, they pulled it.
And I believe there was even some like strict rules on selling. So if you bought, you wouldn't even want to sell because you had like a tax penalty or whatever. So
had to hold for a duration. I thought.
Fake it till you make it.
I thought there was a duration. If you didn't hold it, if you held it for shorter than a certain period of time, they charged you.
Right.
Something.
Right.
If you held it for a lengthy period of time, then they didn't. But yeah, it was a duration trade. It's the same thing, believe it or not. When I was at J.P. Morgan, it was the same way.
Well, when they banned shorting here during the crash in 08, the market plummeted because you don't realize that how much liquidity that you got. Those are buyers coming in. If you're short and it goes down, you have to buy to cover.
That's right.
And that gives a strong bid to the market.
Yeah.
Take that away, and it's okay. I'm long, I sold, and who's buying?
No one.
Long guys weren't buying; they were selling.
That's right.
But I'm sure next crash they'll ban just selling outright. No, I'm serious. You know what'll happen.
I know. That's why I laughed.
That'll be funny.
Because I know you're right.
I don't know what they'll do with options though, but I guess ban puts.
Got to play some type of a game.
Right.
So you got the NASDAQ and S&P pushing near these highs.
Yep. You keep trickling. See here with the trying to find my other dollar chart.
NASDAQ's about to take out its high here.
Yeah, usually you get that. It's almost like an echo bump. This red band coming underneath now, kind of just bounce it up to here.
Good strong 5-minute candle on that crude too. After that little pullback.
Yep. It's actually pretty quiet on the currency front though. Euro's just kind of spinning its wheels. A little bit of Greek contagion. So basically what's going on in Europe is that the Greek, and I think it's a couple other ones, the sovereign debt actually cannot be bought by their quantitative easing. But there's also mostly negative yields everywhere, so I don't know if the boon, I haven't seen, I know the boon was pretty darn close. Less than 0.1 away from going negative yield on the
Wow.
10-year bond in Germany.
Wow.
So if you're a fund manager or whatever, I don't know. I think 12% or whatever on Greece sounds pretty darn good. If Draghi has said 100 times for 4 years straight that they'll do whatever it takes, if it's not going to default, then you got to buy it.
Until they pull a Swiss.
Until they pull a Swissy. That's exactly what I was going to say.
No, that's why I beat you to it. I knew it was coming.
But those guys they get CDS or they can hedge somehow.
Yeah.
The big dogs are always hedged.
Yep.
You get the credit default swap, and I'm sure you can pawn off that risk. You're pretty good to go. Lever 10 to 1, you're making 120% a year. Risk free.
Do this.
On a couple billion.
See what happens to this NASDAQ retesting these highs, the 43.96. Could see a breakout.
It's gonna blow through it like right. It's only 680. There it goes.
Yeah.
To the moon. Crude, same thing. I don't know. That looks like a pretty good. They're pretty correlated. I wouldn't be surprised. Crude takes out the high.
Yeah, looks like it wants to. Pretty good volume on this push too.
Yeah, that's a pretty good spike. I haven't looked at stocks yet, but one can only imagine, right?
Exactly.
Up and away. So looking at the NASDAQ, it's slightly stronger than the S&P, so that's kind of changing since recently.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the NASDAQ's been weak, and then it kind of... I think it's more bullish if the NASDAQ is stronger, so...
Sure.
I think today is the first day it's done that in a while, or at least in a few days, a few trading days.
Yeah. Yeah.
The air's a little thin up here for the NASDAQ and S&P.
See if crude is going to break out here.
Crude has been more correlated, it seems, lately to S&P, NASDAQ.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what they call it. That's not a roller coaster. It's a trampoline. This is a perfect case of showing the strength of if you're in a bullish trend.
Yeah.
How aggressive and quickly and technically, because usually when you bounce, you'd run into trouble here.
Yeah.
And then if you look further back, if there's other overhead supply, you'd run into trouble. And then you could see it took for it to retrace that. It took a while.
Yeah.
And then straight back up.
Exactly.
Pretty darn bullish. That's a 5-minute. Here we go. Let's look at the 15. Yeah, still a little bit of juice there. The calendar was dailyfx.com, and then you do the economic calendar. I believe it's under me. Yeah, dailyfx and then calendar. Jerry, if you're trading manually, it'll always say position mismatch. So the features of the software was that you can get signals trades and at the same time trade manually, but if I put in a trade right now, this system does not have a trade on, but if you manually trade either from the ladder or even these are market orders, but you can enter in with the buy sell buttons, it will say position mismatch. That's just a warning. That's nothing to you definitely have to look into it, but if you're manually trading, it'll always say position mismatch. Sometimes I wonder on what the I think there'd be good trades on the spread trades. S&P to oil. Wow, that's slow. Guess it's not working. Okay. Next. But you can see how the market screams higher and crude gets bogged down.
Yeah, look at the ramp test on NASI and S&P here.
Typically, the Chinese QE they don't mess around. It's direct. They either do direct lending or their transmission mechanisms are pretty aggressive, let's just say. And it mathematically helps right away. Be like if all credit card interest rates dropped 10%. Be literally physical cash going to or lower interest charges slash lower minimum payments on credit cards that would directly affect the economy.
Yeah.
We'll probably have that in about 3 to 5 years, right? QE for credit cards.
And then student loan debt's coming too.
Oh, okay. Because it's in the news so much, that's the next one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty. It's a pretty tough call. I think if you make it dischargeable in bankruptcy, you'd have a massive wave of bankruptcy, declaring bankruptcy, and in young people, it's kind of messes you up for quite some time. So I don't know. It's a tricky subject.
These lows going to hold on crude?
I think crude will go down to probably 56 maybe at some point. Well, what's the equivalent? I'm still looking. They haven't rolled these charts. People asked about that too. It's about 50 cents lower.
Yeah, there you go.
So maybe over there. But chart-wise, this is pretty strong, pretty bullish.
Yeah, yeah.
But typically, if it either fails at the high and breaks down, or whatever rolls over after this up move, it's going to do.
Yeah.
That should be the. That is just a very aggressive up move.
Right.
Maybe China's just buying oil outright. I don't know, some of the fundamental reading I did over the weekend. This massive drop in rig counts, and then usually by this time in the spring they're ramping up production and with new rigs.
Yeah.
And the ones, they've already done, they're going to do anyway. But
yeah,
the decline rate is so deep now that on the back end of a lot of these wells from the last 2 years, like within 2 years of starting a fracking well, it's down. The production's down like 80%.
Wow.
So you had a big boom 2-3 years ago. When those decline rates start to drop, and you're not bringing them back online, then you'll see a pretty decent production drop.
Yeah.
But in Asia, and there seem to be there's not huge inventories of oil elsewhere. It's just from the particular landlocked situation here.
Yeah.
Although surprisingly, the Brent crude, we don't normally trade
What's
it.
it doing?
I guess this should be, I think that's Brent. It's still pretty correlated, but the spreads move back and forth. I actually thought I saw on here that there's a futures contract for it. Must love to see a spread chart. Brent to, oh my God, they have everything. Look at some of these futures. Fuel differentials in euro, the crack futures, gas oil crack futures.
See if crude's going to break out these 45s.
Starting to get
We could be retesting these highs pretty quick.
Starting to get the dollar going down. Let's look at the euro quick. Interesting spot for the euro. So we'll what else did you want to cover?
No, I just want to see if this thing's going to these levels are going to hold or if this thing's going to roll over and die on us here.
Oh, crude.
Yeah.
I think it's going higher than lower. Just keep stair stepping up.
Yeah.
The recent candles are getting a little bit sloppy though with those wicks.
Yeah.
So
Definitely consolidating.
if you're not familiar with candlesticks, it's the open is there, then you get the body is, and then that's the close, and then the wick is where it also traded to. But so here it opened here, rallied all the way up to here, and then closed here. So open, rally, and close. Now you see it opens, rallies, and closes on the same tick. That's called actually a gravestone. Doji, shooting star, doji. So it's lots of indecision / end of trend candles right now on the 5 minute.
Well, a lot of consolidation sideways. I'll start taking out some of these lows.
Yeah, unless it takes this low out, it's definitely still bullish. But
yeah,
the odds in my poker percentage in the corner of the screen, like I've talked about, the odds of taking a short trade that works are getting better. Just with the price action.
Yeah.
That is a pretty impressive though up move.
Good.
Yes. Just the momentum alone, it should print one more new high.
You'd think.
It shows up in that red rate of change.
Yeah.
The odds are still in the bullish favor, but what I don't want to confuse people. I'm bullish, but I think that if you were to short those particular candles, you have a better shot. I still think it's going higher. But that's the constant analysis of the different pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Gotta bring your A game.
Yes, sir.
TikTok, look at this thing just asleep.
Yeah, but we know how crude gets. It does this and it's setting up for a breakout. So.
Right. Or break down, I don't know.
Well, breakout. Set in one direction or the other.
Right.
You'd think based on the trend that it would break to new highs, but I'm with you that this thing's so extended. At some point, sellers are going to step in or buyers are going to step in. Somebody's going to step in.
Well, this is the first serious test. It took out the recent low. Now it's got to go for that other one, which is right here. So if it takes that out. Oh, that's a 5 minute. I've got a 1 minute main dot sell at 30. The open of this candle. I know, it's the 1 minute, but
Yeah.
seems to get rolling. So that recent, I think the 05 has to hold. It just, oh, it held that at 16.
Yeah.
That's got to hold.
Yep.
Nasdaq just keeps on trucking.
Yep. Not even thinking about it, is it?
Volume has to be low, right? They were showing the volume
Crude?
numbers on the Nasdaq. It was pretty heavy in the sell-offs, but that also means people are, for every buyer there's a seller, right? So
Yeah.
lately it just seems like, okay, there's heavy volume. I guess those are the big dogs buying.
Yeah.
May run out of steam up there too on the Nasdaq. Yeah, it's a bigger retracement now. That 16 still held on crude.
Yeah. Temporarily.
I don't know. The Bears were going to have their chance. That was it. So if you think of the ebb and flow, this kind of movement is typical of short-term, possibly even like market-making style traders versus bigger, long-term types traders come in and trade kind of at different areas. So kind of have to get in the head of those type of traders or slash systems. That's why it's good to know and have multiple different systems versus just being a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
So you'll get guys that are coming in here and just once it slows down like that, they'll start not market making, but contrarian trading off this.
Mm-hmm.
Bollinger Bands are everywhere, so it's almost self-fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to hold pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Crude got that selling out of its way. Is it going to go make a new high? Might just take a sweet time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at it. On the calendar for the week of news, existing home sales, I don't know, seems lately doesn't have that much effect. That's on Wednesday. Initial claims and new home sales on Thursday. Big one's Friday, durable goods.
Yeah.
But pretty light week, news-wise.
Go back to the G4 chart. Kind of in our spot here.
For crude?
Yeah.
A little bit. A little bit. You think it to the long side?
Definitely seems like it's trying to bottom, but you're not seeing the conviction yet, the buyers. You know what I mean?
No.
You got a higher low on this current 5-minute candle, and you see it take out the highs of 28. You need to get, much more bullish. But even there, where does it run? We run back up into 41.
Well, this is where, if you were to take a trade now, you have to be cognizant of your positioning within the different time frames and within where the market has been. So
yeah,
that's why typically you use some type of technical analysis to give you a benchmark, say a moving average or whatever the Bollinger Bands or the bands I have or whatever that you have to give you kind of a perspective of where you were and where you're going.
Yeah.
And so when you start going through and looking at what type of tools you can have to help you, you got to be definitely disciplined on it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's like artwork. The user or user error is
you want to see what you want to see.
Right. Which is fine. I think if you talk like trading psychology, I have no problems with that.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, right?
Exactly.
So if you have a particular feel of the market and something backs it up, that's kind of the point. Although when you do this long enough, it happens subconsciously to where, sadly, you start to dream about trading. Maybe Chris does already. I'll have to ask him.
Yes, sir.
Like I've definitely had the dreams of like specific trade areas, and then it got to those areas.
And it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have dreams about trades, and sometimes they don't happen like the next day, but sometimes they happen, within a few days or a week or so, where I'll see like my exact P&L for the day.
Right. Crazy. Yeah, I've had that too.
All right, now you got a breakout, crude. Let's go ahead and do it.
Seems like it. for crude to sit here in timeout for this long. Wants to go. Go, go, go. Does it make a new high? I kind of feels like it.
Yeah. Pretty good volume here.
Yeah. Nothing on the dollar. Usually with the dollar move, it helps the cause.
Yeah. Got some overhead at 44.
And it fell apart. That's where all those wicks are.
Yeah.
Let's expand.
Yeah, it's got to work through. It's got to work through that. That's for sure.
You've got this big wick here, wick, 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 wick.
Yeah.
But if it does take out 57, which is whatever on, I think it rolls by tomorrow.
It's today, actually. The contract.
Well, no, the contracts, yes, have rolled, but these charts, it seems like.
Oh, got it.
Actually, sometimes it takes a couple days. I don't know why. Well, that's not good for the Bulls.
No. They better step back in. I mean, that came all the way back on 200 contracts, though. Went up on 1,300 and came back on 200.
In the past, I guess volume was important, but I don't know. I don't know how to read it anymore. It just seems like,
Yeah.
I almost say it's opposite. It means a lot of people bought and it didn't go up. Where in the past, if you had a rally on big volume and a sell-off on little volume, it just kept going up and up and up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these algos, knowing what I know on how the algos get, if you do certain positions and you're taking on multiple positions, I think they pretty much purge their books. So if you think about it, you're doing a trading system, you might short the top band, buy the bottom band, short the top band, and then eventually you might hit the bottom band 1, 2, 3, 4 times and not ever hit the top. So now you're long 4.
Yeah.
And then the market rallies up. I sometimes think they just go get flat. I mean, that's how I have my system set up, where it has X amount on, it might have a 4 lot on, it rallies up, and you hit your profit target, you get flat all 4.
Yeah.
Instead of just leaving your individual profit target for each one. So that's it.
That's definitely an ugly candle. All right, guys. Well, sounds good. We'll see you guys. Some of you later today. Some of you next couple days. Have a good day.
Yep. Have a good one. Thanks.